immediately they see that Nigeria, the
The antenna
the
for
sense is
investigation, they become FBI.
what
FBI.
next? Um. So yeah. So,
You know,
so yes.
when it comes to dependents, like we be saying dependent, who can be your dependent? And somebody was talking to me like that. I'm like, yeah, your wife would apply. Since your wife said you be dependent, let's say God forbid, I can never be my wife's dependent. So when it comes to this application, what is a dependent?
So, so your dependent is anyone, usually a family member that relies on you for emotional, financial.
Okay, so we explained already how to calculate proof of funds, because when we say you're on fully funded scholarship, how do you calculate proof of funds? We already talked about that. You calculate how much do you need, how much do you have, you check for the difference, and you have the rest in your bank account. Hi, I want to purchase a GIC, but my country, Kenya, is not in the SDS program. How do I get it? So I think they're trying to apply via the student direct.
Apply direct stream, yeah. So, if you know somebody in Canada that you trust, you can ask them to help you get the GIC. That would be the only way, and you'd move the money from your bank account to that to the bank account here. Or you can even contact financial institutions directly, and they'll tell you their process and how they can help you. But please, when you're contacting a financial institution, make sure it's not a dummy financial institution. There is an actual one. But the best way is when you have somebody here, or you know somebody here, and you ask them to help you. That's usually the best.
Okay.
The account will still be opened in your name. It won't be in the person's name. It will be in your name. So.
Okay. This question just came to mind because somebody had asked me a while ago. So let's say that my family is gathering Osusu for me to study abroad. So maybe my brother, my sister, my father, my mother, maybe 4 people have come together to put this money that I need. How can I show this as proof of funds? Do they all need to transfer the money to me, or will I get letter of sponsorship from 4 people? How is it going to work out if I'm using multiple sponsors?
So the best way, so if it's a family sponsorship, the best way would be to have, so say for example, you know that December of 2024. Right now, you would have everybody begin to pay the money into one person's account or 2, right? Into either your mom's account or your dad's account or your brother's account. They begin to pay that money into that account, and over time, right, the money is building up. So that person, probably they have a job or they have a business or whatever they have, they can give you a letter of sponsorship and show that bank account. It's just a neater way to you 4 bank statements. And usually if you do applications like that, there's a bias, and the bias is they don't think you can afford it, since it's the whole community that is sending you to school. So so there's usually so it's better to just direct all that stream of income to one person and have that one person handle it. I think it would work that way.
Okay, so what if that one person, so let's say that the one person that is sponsoring, your sponsor is supposed to show their bank statement and their source of income. So let's say, what if it's not realistic for that one person, looking at that one person's source of income, for him to have that money? So let's say somebody that earns $300,000, 300,000 naira every month, is now saying, I'm going to sponsor this person with 20 million. Like, how? It just doesn't make it. It's not realistic, right? For somebody with that kind of money to be giving another person 20 million.
With something like that, you can, so if there are 4 or 5 of them, you would look at the person that has the most weight. But if all of them are the same, then of course a letter would suffice. In that situation, I would recommend that that person pays their tuition in full ahead for that type of um, situation. You won't go, oh, the school didn't ask me, I'm not going to pay tuition because it's not recommended. But what if anything happens to all these people that are bringing this money? Then what happens to you at the end of the day, right? So or maybe two of them instead of using one. In this situation, you'd use two. But when it's getting to three, I think that is one too many.
Okay, okay. How much is classified as bulk money in one's account? It's a lump sum. Lump sum.
Lump
That
sum,
is very bogus. Because many people don't say, they just say lump sum, but nobody knows, people don't know what is lump sum.
you know what? Lump sum can even be as low as 100, 200,000 naira. It's that bad. So, for example, in your account, the highest money that has come in is 5,500 or 10,000. All of a sudden, 6 months when you're coming to school, people are paying in 100,000, 200,000. So it could be 200,000, 500,000, 1 million, 8 million, 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million. So it just depends on what your transactions have been. So if it's someone that usually would have 10 million, 20 million in their account here and there, 30 million going into the account wouldn't be considered as a lump sum because the history of that account shows that they've been having that type of money. So lump sum is really based on what your transactions have been in the past months, what your maximum has always been, and the random hike that comes bank account really. So that's what. So there's no minimum, there's no maximum. It's just based on your transactions and how much you've had coming in the past.
Okay. Okay, so more questions. Can I submit my visa application now for September intake? Hope it's not too late.
No, it's not. It's the processing time is 7 weeks, and if you're doing the NSE, the Nigerian Student Express or the SDS, it's actually been like 3 days. Somebody submitted on the 16th, and they did their biometrics. Sorry, on the 16th, and they got their visa today.
Okay, talking about biometrics, a lot of people recently have complained. You know, normally when you submit your visa application in like 24 to 48 hours, they send you biometrics letter. But a lot of people lately have complained. I submitted last week, no biometrics letter. Is it something that is happening now? Is it common, or should they be worried? Should they? Because many of them are panicking.
No, you shouldn't be worried. But if it's more than 10 days, I would recommend you send a web form. Then also to see what you imputed. Because sometimes you could make, you know how they would ask you, have you done biometrics in the past 10 year, in the past year or in the past 10 years? Maybe you clicked yes or you clicked no, and somehow one wind just came to change it.
Village people.
Oh, blue air on it, and the thing changes. So just go back to your application first, check it. If everything is fine, then just do a web form. But the maximum delay I've seen is about 48 to 72 hours, 3 days. That's the maximum I've seen. But if it's more than
Because
that,
all people are now getting worried. Those that use agents and they've not seen biometrics from, they're like, oh, my agent has scammed me. Those are now thinking themselves like, oh, maybe the people said you don't do it yourself, use agents. I'm going to do it myself now. See, I cannot receive biometrics.
sometimes if you're another thing that actually comes up, if your agent uses a credit card that is fake or is stolen, because that happens a lot, where where the credit card is fake or is stolen. In that way, you will still be owing money to the Crown. They would send you a letter telling you that you're owing money to the Crown. Your biometrics could be late, depending if the payments bounced halfway. So those are things that you would need to check to know what really is going on. Yeah, because sometimes it takes like 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just the same way as visas now. You could use, now we're saying 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, depending on if you've done your medicals ahead of time, you've done your police clearance and all that. So the time frames are not the same for everybody. It just depends on how you applied and what documents that you put in. But yes, if you used an agent, just verify with them that they used an actual credit card that is not stolen or fake.
Agent
If
go
you don't hear,
agent go green.
if you don't hear anything in 72 hours, just raise a web form. That's the best way to take care of it.
Okay. Okay, so now let's see. Somebody's asking that if a sponsor pays the money into their bank account, so let's say the sponsor is giving them 5 million and the sponsor just pays 5 million into their bank account, what documents do they need to provide to prove that 5 million?
So they need to provide a letter from the sponsor introducing themselves, saying who they are, their relationship to the person, and why they are sponsoring the person. Then they also need to provide the bank statement of that sponsor that shows, usually, so if you have a highlighter, you can just highlight that point that shows where that money came from, because the sponsor has to give you their bank statement, right? So it will show that that money came from the date that the money was paid. Sometimes some banks would even have a time. They would have the date, the time, the memo. It will show the name and what bank it's coming from. You just highlight it, include it in your letter of in the letter that you attach to your application. But the sponsor has to provide their bank statement and that letter of sponsorship.
Okay. Okay. So if your visa is approved, let's say you are resuming in May 2024, and by this time now your visa is already approved. This question from somebody here: can I come to Canada now and just hustle for the 1 year so I can gather money, or when is the right time for me to come in?
So if you're starting in May 2024, the right time to come in would be in April 2024. If you push it and you come in March 2024, at the end of March, it's still okay. But if you come way ahead, at the airport, anything could happen. It's to a visitor's visa.
Yeah, exactly. There was somebody that came to meet me and said that the person was coming like 4 months early.
Yeah,
at the airport. They changed it to visit visa.
And when you apply again, there's no guarantee that you will get a study permit. So just be patient and just chill and just come in like a month before is still okay. 2 months before, you might be pushing it. 3 months before, at the airport, you're going to get a visitor's visa. So they'll cancel the permit and change it to a visitor's visa. Then you'd have to apply again 1 month before you start school.
Okay, somebody said, can we stay off the laughter? Becoming too much and annoying for an issue like this. Wow. Young forever. Sorry. You need to live. Life is not that serious. Somebody cannot laugh again on my live session. Wow.
Sorry. Okay, Zeno, we have to be serious. Don't.
I'm serious now. But I'm still going to take his question. For a 2-year course, I have a limited cash after paying school fees, but I have liquidable assets. The question is not complete. You see, he focused on telling us to stop laughing, but the long question is not even complete. You have to complete your question, Young Forever One. Okay. For Lashade, we've answered some of your questions. Can I use more than one sponsor? We answered that. Does using sponsor reduce the chance of acceptance of visa? This is a good question. So people normally ask, like, if I use a sponsor, will it reduce my chances? If I use loan, will it reduce my chances? So all of these questions, what will actually reduce somebody's chances of getting a visa?
Using a sponsor is not going to reduce your chances of getting a visa, but there are many factors that also come into play. Your age, your your skill set. So for example, I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm applying to come into school. My sponsor is my brother that is 26. I've never worked, I've never done anything. It raises a red flag, right? My parents are sponsoring me, my brother is sponsoring me, my uncle is sponsoring me. Oh, that is fine. Sometimes it's it's more of a profiling kind of thing. They don't say that that is what it is, but there are many factors that they look into. That everybody's situation is not the same, right? So I could have my husband sponsoring me, I could have my uncle sponsoring me. It depends on what they are able to put down, but there are many factors that go into play depending on what your profile is. It's not a bad thing to have a sponsor. Your church can sponsor you, your boss from work can sponsor you, depending on what type of relationship you have with the person. So having a sponsor is not bad. It's just that would determine how the person see it, how the visa officer would look at your application.
Okay, so basically using a sponsor is okay. You just need to package the profile of the sponsor and make it make sense to the visa officer.
Yes.
That's it. Okay. So let's see. We have a lot of questions today. Wow. I hope we'll finish from here.
We have 5 more
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh, but
Okay, somebody said, what can be the reason for IRCC not giving a decision after someone has done biometrics since last year, July?
since last year, June,
Yeah, so no decision yet.
the person should confirm that they don't have any amount owing to the Queen. That is usually the first problem, because your payments bounced, they just stopped processing your application. But if you paid by yourself and you did it yourself, you look at your letter and know if your application went to Nairobi, or if it went to the UK, or if it went to the US. Then you can now send a web form or write a letter to that, write an email to that office in charge, and just put in your application number, your UCI. You want to know what's going on with your application. But usually for situations like this, it is when the credit card bounces and it doesn't work, they just throw the application on the side.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about names, right? If people just got married, or maybe people have been married for a while and they don't bear the same names, does it affect their visa application? So husband and wife bear different names, or wife and children bear different last names. Does it have any effect on their visa application?
No, it doesn't. Your common law, like you're not married and you don't have a marriage certificate and you're just living together, you provide proofs. Okay, so people said it has changed to the king. Yeah, so you'll be owing money to the king, not to the queen. You are trying to make me laugh. So you'll be owing money to the king, not to the queen. Um, so sorry. Oh my God. Sorry. What were we talking about?
We're talking about about names, like change of names.
Yeah,
So does the name
so it
affect?
doesn't, no, it doesn't impact you in any way. If you have your marriage certificate, you include your marriage certificate. If you don't and you're just common law partners, you attach a letter with proof. Either you pay bills together or you that things that would show that you're common law, and you can use that, but it doesn't have any negative impact on you. Canada is not.
Okay. Okay. So, if somebody, let's say that Ada applied for a student visa. Ada is married with kids, but she applied for a student visa alone, and she got her visa approved. Now she's resuming. This is June. She's resuming school in September. Now Ada wants to apply for her husband and her children. Does she have to wait until she comes to Canada and resume school, or now that her visa is approved, can she now apply for her spouse and her children, bearing in mind that she used them as proof of home ties for her own application?
She the ideal thing would be for Ada to come in, then apply for them. But if she's insisting that, oh, she can't stay with that, she would die. If
That
that
she would die. That she would die if her husband and children are not with her.
then you can go ahead and apply for a spousal open work permit, and she will also apply for, depending on the age of the children, she would apply for either a visitor's visa or a study permit for them as well. But really, the spousal open work permit goes really fast, maybe like 4 weeks. So she might spouse get everything neat. It's good to just come. Your family will be fine. They will join you in no time, and they come after.
Okay. Okay.
Because now there's a new law, right, that came out at the end of May, that it's now even more open for international students to come with their spouses. It's called the C42. So when you're applying and you use that, then it's fine. Usually they would have.
So can you explain this C42? Because I was thinking that we'll do a separate live session to talk about it. But since you've
No,
already
let's
mentioned
wait. No, let's.
C42, should we do a separate one? Oh,
Yes.
network. Are you saying that we should do a separate live session talk about the C42?
Yes, a separate one.
Okay, so you guys heard, we'll do a separate live session talk about the C42 that can easily and quickly bring your spouse to join you.
Yeah, that is tailored only towards international students that have a study permit and they are in school. So if you don't have a study, so if you come, you have a study permit and you are not in school, say for some reason you decide to defer your admission, then you'd have to wait.
Okay. Okay. So somebody is asking, my uncle is in the US and he wants to sponsor my education in Canada, and this person is in Nigeria for a year. So the uncle is in US, wants to sponsor the person's education in Canada. The person is applying for the visa from Nigeria.
Yeah.
So should she use his bank statement in the US as proof of funds, or the uncle should pay the money to a Nigerian bank account and she will use that to apply?
The best thing would be to use the uncle's bank statement. And if you want, the best thing is to use the uncle's bank statements, but if you choose to have the money sent to you in Nigeria, then you would need to use both. You will still need to use your uncle's bank statement or however he sends you the money, whether by Western Union or whatever, showing his name. You would need to attach that also to your own bank account. But ideally, if you're using your uncle's bank statement, it is completely fine.
Okay. So see, as I'm here, I don't like stress.
Sorry, even if they don't share the same name, it could be your maternal uncle. I don't know.
My network. Wow.
Uh,
We can hear you now.
Oh, sorry. I said even if they don't share the same name, that it's fine because it could be your maternal uncle that is sponsoring you, right? You don't need to have the same name.
Okay. Okay, so I have a big question here. So I am rich. I am very rich and wealthy in Nigeria, and I have house help. I have nanny for each of my children. I have a cook. I have a driver. I want to come to school and live soft life. I don't like stress. How can I apply for visa for all of these my workers so that they can come with me to Canada? So you're going to work for me here.
If you're coming to study, it might not be ideal. Like even when you have your own money, each of them also needs to qualify. They need to meet the eligibility criteria to be able to come in. Now, if you have children and you have someone that takes care of your child, of your children, maybe one of them can come with you. If you're able to show the funds, if you're able to show that you've done your research, and you have the money, why not? But ideally, that person also needs to meet some eligibility criteria to be able to come with you. If you're coming with two people, that's one too many. I think one is enough. I'm sorry, Stanley, can you please check your email? I think, sorry, I just saw a chat now. You were sent a Zoom link at 3:03 p.m. So check your email.
So under what category can one apply for that kind of person? Let's say that this nanny is 24 years old. Can I apply for them as a dependent? Because I see many people, they say, I want to bring my younger brother. My younger sister, she's 18. She has been living with me since she was 9 years old. I want to bring her with me. My driver is our family member. He lives in our backyard, in our flat in the backyard. I cannot leave him. He has to come with me. So how can we handle all of these issues?
No, you would apply for the person as a living, as a child caregiver or as a nanny. They can't come in as a visitor because they are not coming to visit. So it's a separate application for them. They'll be applying as a child caregiver coming with you to assist you with whatever you're doing. But you can't apply for a study permit for them. You can't apply for a visitor's visa for them.
Okay, so let's see. So people are asking again about the whole floating rate. We already talked about that, and we are going to repost this live session so that you can watch it. But we said it that we are going to use the current going exchange rates. That's what we said. So people are asking, like, when is the best time to apply for your family? This question is very common. So a lot of people are confused. Some people don't even understand why they're not applying for their family together at the same time. They have only heard people say, no, don't apply for your family with you, or they will deny the visa. But they don't know why. So when is the best time for you to apply with your family? So is it advisable to apply together with your family? If not, when is the best time, or what should you consider before applying for visa together with your family?
The best time to apply together with your family is really based on your profile, on how much you have, how much you're able to show. There's nothing wrong with applying with your spouse and your children at the same time. But if you don't have enough economic ties, like landed property, like money in the bank, it's usually better for you to apply by yourself and use your family as the tie. So it depends on the ties that you have. If you don't have enough economic ties, then your family would be the your ties. If you don't have enough family ties, then you have enough economic tie. But there's nothing wrong with applying with your family at the same time. It just depends on how much you have and what you're able to show, really. So, for example, if you have only 10 million in your bank account, account, and you want to come with your spouse and three children, of course that would not fly, right? So it just depends on how much you have and what you're able to show. They can come in, but usually there's nothing wrong in coming at the same time, as I said. But I usually recommend for people to come themselves first and see how the place is, taste the waters, see how the environment is. And especially with young kids, it's a different ball game here. It's not like back home where you would have a sister, a cousin, or for example, if you're trying to get a maid here, minimum wage is $15. So if you're making $40 an hour and you're paying somebody $15,
An
you're left with
hour. An
$25. And
hour. You not say that. They don't get $15 per day. $15 an
no,
hour.
$15 per hour. So one day would be about $110 thereabouts,
International
right? So
students don't earn $40 an hour too.
yeah,
They
true.
will earn about the same $15 an hour. So anyway, this was my situation when I came to Canada then when I started my master's with my 2-year-old, because I would go and work my shifts, and then the person that was even doing the childcare provider, I put my son in home daycare, and she was charging me $35 per day. Where I was working, they would give me shifts. The maximum I used to earn for whatever shift I would do during the day was like between $35 and $40. So at the end of the day, everything evens out. It's just like, okay, I'll go to work. The whole
You're
money I
working.
to pay childcare. It just did not make any sense again. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to come, you test, you see how the place is, you see, even with school, the educational system is not the same, right? There's no point coming and getting frustrated. You're trying to find a house. There's just a lot that you can do yourself and settle down a bit, even if it's just for your first term, which is just 4 months. Then you can have your family join you, but you can all still come together if that is what you want. There's nothing stopping you, as long as you're able to show that you can care for everybody. That is completely fine.
Okay. I submitted since 1st June, and suddenly I'm short about 2.5 million due to new rates. Would I be okay? We answered this question at the beginning of the live session, so please watch the replay. So I've been seeing this question. It's quite common. People talking about loans, right? And if they use loans, how do they prove to the visa officer that they're going to pay back their loans, or so that it's going to fly and they will not be denied based on the fact that they are using loans to go and study abroad?
So you need to show, usually when you apply for a loan, you'd have put down some form of collateral with the financial institution, and really just having a plan, like, okay, this is the plan I have to pay back this loan. These are all the documents I signed with the loan company. This is the agreement we came to. You need to include all those documents, and also in your letter that you're submitting, your plans would also be in there as well. Basically, that's about all you can do. But they know that actually IRCC would prefer that you're upfront and showing that you got a loan than you borrow money from a proof of funds company, because they know that in Nigeria they do it. There are many companies that are out there
They
advertising on
advertise
Instagram.
now online. I see
Yeah.
them.
So if you want proof of funds, so they know. So that's why they don't even believe any bank statement you bring. They sometimes would look at it and be like, okay, this, immediately they see that Nigeria, the
The antenna
the
for
sense is
investigation, they become FBI.
what
FBI.
next. So yeah. So,
You know,
so-
when it comes to dependents, like we be saying dependent, who can be your dependent? And somebody was talking to me that day. I'm like, yeah, your wife would apply. Since your wife said you be dependent, let's say God forbid, I can never be my wife's dependent. So when it comes to this application. What is a dependent?
So, so your dependent is anyone, usually a family member that relies on you for emotional, financial, moral support. It doesn't mean that you're a lesser person than the other person is. It just means that you're working together to make sure that, so for example, if you're doing an application and your wife qualifies more, she has a better chance of getting the visa. She has a better chance of getting the visa. Then it makes sense that she's the principal applicant, and a dependent is just somebody else on the application, really. It's not just what it is. It's just somebody else that is piggybacking kind of on this person's application. So it could be your child, it could be your husband. Yeah, basically that's what it is. And they have to be, depending on your type of application, your dependents could be 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. If they are 22, they have to meet some certain criterias, whether they're not able to help themselves, they are sick, or they depend on you for care, right? But usually anybody 18 and below is your dependent. Then your husband, of course, can be a dependent on your application. It's not like they're a lesser person, or yes, they are the man of the house, we know, but is this person qualifies more, so let them apply and you just come under them, just it's just paper, really.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
Okay, so this is the last question we're going to say, because this live session has gone over. I thought it'd be 1 hour, but really it has gone over. So this question is from multiple people. How long does the money have to sit in your account before you print your bank statement to apply for visa? 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year? What's the recommendation?
Recommendation is 4 months, but I prefer 6. Now, if you have a huge volume on your account that runs if your account is, if you don't have a lot of volume on your account and it's easy to print 6 months, that's fine. But IRCC's recommendation is 4 months. I usually do 6 months with my clients because it's just, I don't know. I just prefer 6 months, but IRCC recommends 4 months. That's all they ask for. 3 months is too short. You have to meet the recommendation of IRCC or you exceed it. And what IRCC usually looks for is 4 months.
So is it 4 months from when I have the money? Okay, let's say that I want to apply. Now we are in June and I want to apply I plan to do my application in July, but the money entered my account in June. But I can go back to 4 months before then when my account was empty and go and print it, or is 4 months from when I have the complete money in my account?
So I did June.
We didn't hear
That
please
is,
say it again.
that is, so you can't be submitting in July, then you print January, February, March, and April. They would ask you, okay, what happened to May, June? So it's actually 4 months from, if you're submitting in July, you're starting in March. And that's why, but if you had money way back in January, you can add it to it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't print 4 months from 2022 and say, oh, they asked for 4 months, so I'm going to give them March till June of 2022. No, it has to be current. Now, you can even do, like, there's nothing wrong with till May, February, March, April, May. There's nothing wrong with that. But of course, it's just better when it's really it's current, because in a case like that, they could ask you send you a PFL, ask you that they want to know what the current balance in that bank account is. I've seen that happen before. So yeah, it's 4 months from when you want to submit, or you can give yourself that 1 month room and do like the 4 months before. That's
Okay, so in terms of still related to this proof of funds, what if, let's say now we're in June and I want to apply for my visa in June. So 6 months is from January. But January, February, March, April, there was no money in the bank account. In May, I just put the money in the bank account in May and I printed it January, February, March, April, where my account balance is like 100,000. May, 20 million now entered. So I printed from that January up until today's date and I'm using it. So do I have to wait from, let's say the money entered in May, I will now wait 4 months from May, or I can even money entered in May and I'm applying the next month, which is June, I still do where my bank account was empty, I'll print it and still use it like that.
you know when you oh, it's frozen again. Is it, can you hear me? Is it frozen?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. You know when you print your bank account, it's gonna show you balance and your closing balance.
Yeah.
So if your opening balance is 20 million and it's showing that that money was paid in that month, then you have to explain how that money came about. You're going to explain the money anyways, so it's better you do. And also depending on your inflow outflow, if you're having lump sum, you have to explain how that money just came into your account. If it's a loan, if it's money you picked up from somewhere, you would need to explain it. You can't just show opening balance of 20 million. Okay, where did that 20 million come from? Did you sell a house? Did you come into an inheritance? What did you do to get that 20 million? You should be able to explain it. Yes, your uncle can be your sponsor. Sorry, I just saw.
Okay, yeah, so we would have to adjourn this live session because really we if we continue we will not finish today. So we'll have to adjourn. Some of these questions that people are asking, we've already answered them before. Maybe the people just joined us. So I'm going to repost the replay of this live session. So please find time, go back and watch it from the beginning because they already answered most of the questions. So now, Angela, how can people contact you and what can you do for them?
So, as I mentioned from the beginning, I'm a licensed immigration consultant. The name of my business is His Carries Immigration. We're an immigration consulting firm in Ontario, Canada. Our email is info@hiscarries.com. Our Instagram is Hiscarries Immigration. And Hiscarries is HISCHARIS Immigration. What we do for people, we do different areas of immigration, as work visas, permanent residency applications, provincial nomination. We also advise on academic counseling. Because apart from being an immigration consultant, I'm actually a teacher as well. So we advise, we do counseling, we do homestay, we do airport pickups, we do renewals of visas. For those that have overstayed and they've lost their status, we help them with restoration of their status as well. So everything that has to do with citizenship, we don't do refugee applications. That we don't do. So just if you come in as a student to become a refugee, is an area we don't handle. We do business immigration as well. If you have a business in Nigeria that you're trying to move over, we also do intra-company transfers. If you want to transfer from one company in Nigeria that has a subsidiary in Canada, we do that as well. So different areas of immigration. Our website is hiscarries.com of what we do.
Okay, there's this question. It's not part of today's topic, but I'm just going to ask it because a lot of people seem to have a misconception around it. Okay, so I have a visit visa I just come with my visit visa, and when I come inside Canada, I'll just submit the application and convert it to work permit, and I'll quickly go get a job. Or I'll go to one border in New York, just go cross New York, come back inside Canada, and they will give me work permits there. Is this thing true?
Sorry, before and we also do like camps, group camps for as well. So when you have a visitor's visa, can you convert it to a work permit? The answer is yes, you can. But you know, when you answer a question and you put but, you know that the the matter is somehow. So yes, you can convert to a work visa, but the only way to convert to a work visa is that you need to get a job, and the job offer needs to come with a document that is called a labor market impact assessment. It's called the LMIA. If you don't have that job offer with that LMIA, you can't apply for a work permit. And is it easy to get a job with LMIA? Sincerely, I wouldn't say yes and I wouldn't say no. It just depends on the province that you're in and the people that are around you that might be able to help. And also, it depends on your skill set. What kind of job are you looking for? What type of job have you done before? If you're flexible and you're willing to switch and do like any type of job, yes, you could get LMIA. Then also, I think one important thing is that Nigeria, the skills trade is not what we celebrate, like fashion, hairdressing, butchers, cleaners, and like it's not things that we celebrate. But some companies really look for this kind of jobs, like this kind of people that are looking for this kind of jobs, and they help them. Now, I know of someone that cleans that charges $40 an hour. That is more than what someone does in the bank. But then you also have, if you're into IT, engineering, if you're a nurse, if you're into healthcare, those are also streams that it's easy to get the LMIA. Like it just depends on where you are really and what the employers in that area are looking for. So make up and go give me a work permit. It doesn't work that
So
way.
it means that if I just go across the border, they will not just exchange my visit visa and change it to work permits.
They will. It doesn't work that way. They won't. No, you need to get a job first, and the job would come with something that is called a LMIA. Except if you're talking about the spousal open work permit, which is a completely different one entirely. To a work visa, it doesn't happen that way. You need to get a job that comes with the LMIA.
Okay, people. We've had a very long session today. I did not plan for this session to be this long, but it has taken so long. So we have to round up now. I'm going to invite her again. She's going to come and we're going to choose another topic. And we're going to talk about it. Sorry, we could not answer all of the questions here. You have questions, you can send a DM, but right now we cannot continue this session. First of all, for those people that want to go to school, before you apply for study visa, you need admission. It's a prerequisite. So you need admission. You want to secure admission scholarships, go and click the link in my bio and watch the free study abroad webinar. On Facebook, I've posted our handle. You have Facebook?
Yes, it's the same thing. Hiscaris Immigration.
So people on Facebook, I posted it. Hiscaris Immigration. On Instagram, she's here. You guys have seen it. People have posted it here. People have posted the account. You can look for her. You can follow her. You can send a message. Don't go and be sending a message to her looking for free. Or she charges consultation all these immigration consultants, before they will talk to you and look at your matter and advise you what's next to do, they will charge consultation fee. So if you are looking for free, that's the wrong place. Let me just be giving people heads up so that you will know. Don't waste your time and don't waste our time. Okay, so before we leave, please, can you just again give us like any advice regarding like studying abroad or relocating? Just give us advice or your final last words as it relates to like proof of funds, what to look out for, what to not do, you know, something that's so that they'll be sensitized.
Okay, so from the last time that we had a session, I've always said that studying abroad is a strategy. It's not something that you just wake up and there's usually news everywhere. There's a lot of, everybody is an immigration person. Everybody is telling you what to do, what not to do, and unfortunately, we tend to believe those that have not even stepped their feet into the airport or even come here. So my advice is that for your relocation is a strategy. Put a plan in place. Never be in a hurry to get things done, because it's better you get it done properly the first time than having to do it multiple times. The IRCC website is there. All the information you'd ever need is on there. If you're not going to use a licensed consultant because you don't want to pay that money, it's better you do it yourself than you use an agent. Because what happens is that the agent pretends that they are applying, that they are actually you. So if any error happens, if anything happens, you can't go back to tell IRCC that it wasn't me that applied, because really the agent applied as if they were you, right? So if they use a fake credit card, if you get to the airport and all of a sudden they are telling you, welcome, Dr. Zeno, and you're looking at your back that, where is Dr.
Zeno? Yes,
and they're like,
doctor.
on your application, doctor, then you faint. So just getting that stamp on your passport is not the end. The end is actually after you've been able to come into the country. So never be in a hurry. Put your documents together properly. It's not rocket science. I wouldn't say because I'm a consultant, I'll tell you it's hard. It's not, as long as you're willing to read, you're willing to do the research yourself, you and that is just, you can do it yourself as long as you're willing to read, to take the time to actually sit down and apply. So it's a strategy. Never be in a hurry. You're going to a new country. Things are different. They are not the way it is in Nigeria. It's a good place. I think Zeno will attest to that. That it's a very good place to be. It's better than the US, in my opinion. It's also better than the UK, in my opinion. Yeah, just be strategic. If you're applying to schools, make sure that it's a DLI. Make sure that the DLI you're applying to can offer you a postgraduate work permit when you're done. Make sure you have your funds for tuition. Don't plan to come into the country and then switch to become a refugee or do something else. But just be strategic. Don't rush. I know how we all want to leave the country immediately, but you can plan, you can give yourself like a 6 months and actually get your application done in the right way so that you would not get a refusal. And of course, if you don't have all that money, or link for scholarships to get full funding to get these things done. So that is, yeah, I think that is it. That is it for me.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. If we were to come to meet you individually to pay for this time, for this advice, I know how much we would have paid. Maybe today you just buy a house with the money that you have collected. But thank you for coming here and doing this free for us. We really, really appreciate you. Oh yeah, you people, please tell Angela thank you before we go, so that next time when I can't call her, please come and help my people. She will come. Oh yeah, show your gratitude.
Yeah. Somebody a DLI is a designated learning institution. It just means that it's a public school. It's just big grammar. It's a public school funded by the government, or a private school that has received authorization from the government to act and to recruit students in Canada. Really, that's what a DLI is.
Okay.
And every information you need is on the IRCC website. If you go there, you just need to comb through and you find whatever you're looking for.
Okay, so for those people that I know that some people, they've been denied visas and they're looking for somebody to order GCMS notes for them. Can you order the GCMS notes for them and interpret the notes and give them advice on what to do next?
Yes, I do that. We do that. We'd order your GCMS notes and schedule a Zoom meeting to go through it with you, then tell you how to improve on it to get a successful application.
Okay, so you guys, you can reach her. It's Caris Immigration. When I post this live session, I'm going to tag her so that you can easily go there. And so if you want her to help you review your GCMS notes, maybe you've received or you want her to apply for it and get it for you, whatever it is, you can just reach her. She's here for you. Thank you so much, Angela, and thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you.
You guys have a good day.